Hi Joey. Since Mommy is at a concert, I wanted to read you a book so that way you would be occupied. So we are going to read The Story of Ferdinand by Munro. There was a little bull and his name was Ferdinand. All of the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head, she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. I like it better here where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers. His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him sit there and just be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to pick a fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Say hi. But not Ferdinand. He used to like to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. You bull? You're a bull? All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Joey, this is for you. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree, and he sat down. Where's the bull? He didn't look where he was sitting. Say hi. Okay, hold on. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass, he sat by a bumblebee. What does the bee say? Bzzz. Say bzzz. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him. And that's just what the bee did to Ferdinand. What does the bee say? Bzzz. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if it were crazy. Did the bee bite him? Ouch, on the butt. The 5 men saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fastest bull of them all. Just the right one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. What a day it was! Flags were flying and bands were playing and all of the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderillos with the long sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull to make him mad. Did that hurt him? Yeah. Next came the picadores, who had rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Oh no. Then came out the matador, the proudest of them all. He was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull. Where's the bull? Where's the bull? Say bull. And you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all of the banderillos were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and that matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and and butt and snort and stick his horns. But guess what happened? But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in the lovely lady's hair, and he'd just sit down quietly and sniff them. Sniff the flowers. Sniff. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smiled. And the banderillos were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad that he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and the sword. And they took Ferdinand home. Say home. Home. And for all I know, he is still sitting there under his favorite cork tree, sniffing the flowers. Good night, Joey.